Hey y'all, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. I make videos about movies. And the movie that I want to talk about with you all today is The Nun. Now, The Nun came out a while ago, but I rewatched it recently because they came out with a sequel. So I wanted to refresh my memory because I like The Conjuring. That is my favorite film from the whole franchise. Not the Annabelle movies. The very first Conjuring movie is the one that I like and rewatch. The Curse of La Llorona, The Nun, some side stories, not so much. The Nun is about a convent in Romania where there has been a death, and the church has decided to send one priest and an acolyte, whatever it's called when you're not a nun yet, to this church in Romania in order to determine whether or not the church is still a holy site, or determine what is going on there that this could have happened. Right away, the timeline is confusing. The movie begins with two nuns standing in front of a creepy door in a creepy hallway with a creepy looking key and talking about what they must do. There's an intense urgency there. One nun gets dragged away, the other one grabs the key and then runs to a window where there's already a noose waiting, puts the noose around their neck, and then jumps. And then you see a creepy figure standing in the doorway. And then the next day, a man from the village comes to deliver groceries and stuff and then sees the nun. The next scene, we are in a totally different location, and the priest, Father Burke, who is one of our main characters, is being filled in about stuff that went down at this convent, and that due to vague events that have happened in the past, it's kind of like a round table, and they want to send him there. He's someone who investigates demonic occurrences or occurrences that could be due to the demonic or possession. He seems to be like a catch-all figure. And they want to send him out there with this girl who is not a nun because she knows the area. So they travel out to Romania. They meet the guy who is the only one who will go up there to deliver groceries back and forth. They go up the mountain, creepy whisper about things that have happened in the past, how he found the body. They get there. First of all, this is a long movie. This is not a short movie. And there's a lot going on, and it's not organized well. So you have to kind of put things together for yourself. For example, the timeline between this person committing suicide, the priest and the nun that's not a nun making it to the castle. How long did that take? Because none of it makes sense. As I was watching the movie, I was trying to put the timeline together because of events that were happening. I keep repeating the fact that she's not a nun because she's not. So the fact that she's there at all is a enormous plot hole. I don't care about some side story that she tells about a miracle that she observed in her life, and that's what brought her to God. That don't make no sense for that to be the reason why she's being sent there with Father Burke after a nun has committed suicide. That don't make no sense at all. I don't care how hard you try to push the reasoning for that. It didn't make sense. And only them two, y'all couldn't spare any, since you're pulling her out of nun training, I'm assuming. So it's not like you're taking nuns out of their duties. She's just still in training. So just sending the two of them didn't make any sense at all. So they get to the castle, the convent, and then someone answers the door when they knock. And I'm like, y'all left a body hanging outside the convent. We're supposed to believe that. We're supposed to believe a convent full of nuns left this body hanging outside. And also that nobody reported the other nun that was dragged away into the darkness. That was the nun that they referenced, but the other nun that disappeared was not of concern. Because what are the two of them supposed to do? So the nuns left their sister hanging outside, didn't take down the body, didn't like prepare her for burial, didn't do anything, just left it. That don't make no sense. And then the fact that they are so isolated up there, it's like you sent a bunch of nuns out to this convent to live here, never set foot outside of the doorway, to the point where if this guy suddenly refused to stop making deliveries, how would you all survive? You're trying to tell me that these nuns have lived together for so long, they don't serve the community. They just occupy this space for reasons that no one wants to just say. So everybody's in the dark about it for no reason, because I don't know how you would not find out about this. And all it did was waste time. So I'm like, if the purpose of sending them there is to make sure that the ground is still consecrated, that whatever evil that you know is there, again referring to the round table, and again I'm assuming that they know what happened there, that you would send more than just the two of them to accomplish that realistically, and that everybody who's in the convent would know this, and they should have known in order to properly arm themselves. But you sent them in without knowing that. Why? For the benefit of the audience, I think. I say all that to say, the plot holes started and they were getting larger and larger. So they get there, they inspect the body's doing weird things. Ooh, it wasn't in that position when I left it. Of course it wasn't. What else spookity-doo could we be seeing at this point besides like the shadow of the nun? We see the shadows of the nuns that don't respond, and just like see the back of the habit, whispering, of course, the shadows, lights going out, candles flickering. But we're supposed to believe that everybody is just going about their normal duties. The fact that the Mother Superior nun had her face covered, I was suspicious. Why did she have her face covered with this shroud? And why is she talking like that? You want to think it's like a cultural thing, that's just the way they talk. But when Sister Irene talks to the other nuns, they talk normally. They interact normally. And we're supposed to believe that the Mother Superior is still herself. They're doing their investigations and they're reading the history of the convent and what happened there in the past, and how there's a gateway to hell, I guess, in the basement. Hoo-ha-ha. And then they took a detail right out of Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. That is a detail directly from another movie. And frankly, is iconic and a cult fave for a reason. Where there's a chalice that has the blood of Jesus Christ in it, which we're supposed to believe is in this place. And somehow that the nun that killed herself at the beginning of the movie Claire could not get a hold of this. She had the key in her hand and they knew where it was. Secrets are revealed, revelations are revealed, but they're like things that the audience had already figured out beforehand, because they foreshadow it and show it throughout the entire movie. So there's like confrontation, and then the very last confrontation with the demon, a physical manifestation of the demon. And Sister Irene spits the blood of Christ directly on it, drips the blood into the water, and that seals up. That pulls the demon, dissolves the demon, pulls the crack together. Suddenly, the entire convent and all of the grounds surrounding it. And this is not like a tiny church. It was a castle, I think, at one point. The grounds are consecrated. It's a holy place again. The fact that that place has not been holy for years prior to this incident. Frenchie, Maurice, the guy who found the nun, he is not from town. He is French Canadian, as he likes to say. I'm French Canadian. When they start telling stories about how the castle is evil and the evil is spread to the town and how crops are blighted and children are born blind and whatnot, that it becomes clear there's way more going on here, because the nuns have also been occupying the castle for years, and the fact that they have had no effect is kind of like plot hole. So what? It's like nuns don't have any spiritual power? What's going on here? We're supposed to believe that? I don't. Frenchie said he never saw anyone, but he assumed that someone was there because they were like taking the food. Was anybody even occupying this place other than the last two? And how long had they been in there alone? And why did no one at any point, when they first started seeing the manifestation, send a letter? Just leave a letter outside saying, we could use some help in here. What was the holdup? Because even for them, Father Burke, Sister Irene, Frenchie, when they went to the castle, there were escalations. It didn't immediately start with the, I'm gonna get buried alive kind of thing. It was things to scare them, things to spook them. And the fact that nobody at any point was like, you know what, I'm gonna go down to the village and make a phone call, send a telegraph or something like that. Ooh, I don't know. So the fact that like 7 years later, 6-7 years later, they decided to make another one, I was like, all the characters were pretty undeveloped. The storyline didn't make no damn sense and was really disorganized. The timeline especially. I would give The Nun a 1 out of 5. I would give The Nun 1 out of 5. There are characters and there are horror elements. There's some spooky hoo-ha-ha moments. There's some secrets that are revealed, but revelations, not so much. Just like, okay. And the location was pretty standard. I didn't think that we saw enough places to make Romania feel like Romania. I felt like we just like fast-tracked from one location to another so fast that it was hard to really get a feel for the people and the setting. That spit thing, that was a nice detail, how they spit when they talk about the castle to ward off evil. That's a nice detail, but there weren't enough of them. We're in a whole other country. We have moved from one country to another, and having extra details would have been helpful. I think I'd give it a 1 out of 5. Would I recommend it? Sure. You want a little spook, a little like for no reason? It's long enough and there's enough of hoo-ha-ha to to fill it out. So let me know what you guys thought, because I wasn't into it at all. But thank you guys for spending your time here with me. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time.